Omagyanatimirandasya Snamsala Sakshamilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarne. Hare Krishna. So I'm happy to be with you on this Sunday.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
I'm here in Bulgaria. It's 2 hours later here. It's 7:36 in the evening. And today I want to speak about the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, especially the part where Krishna speaks about the symptoms of a liberated person. Just by hearing the symptoms, we can reflect of how we can develop these symptoms. That the symptoms of a self-realized soul means the vision of a self-realized soul and his attitude towards the world. That just by hearing that, we become enlightened within and we become inspired to also develop these qualities. So Krishna, I will start with reading a verse of the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Yeshanastam Atmana Tishimaditya Vachkaranam Parashata Tadvaram. When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nescience is destroyed, then this knowledge reveals everything as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. So, real knowledge means knowing who we are and then acting according to your real identity. That's real knowledge. If one has that understanding and that realization, one will develop spiritual vision, spiritual attitudes. In the purport of this verse that I just read, Srila Prabhupada writes, and that's on the slides, you can follow it there. One can know God and one's relationship with God only when one actually meets a representative of God. One has to learn the distinction between God and the living entity. When Srila Prabhupada was in America, one reporter asked him, "What's your mission?" And Srila Prabhupada said, "I came to remind you what you have forgotten. Your relationship with God, your real identity." So that's what the spiritual master comes to teach. And then, when we understand we are not his body, we are not his mind, his senses, I'm an eternal living being, different from the mind and senses. The mind and the intellect and the senses are just instruments to be used by the mind, by the spirit soul. The mind should direct the intelligence and the senses. The mind directs the intelligence by faith, telling the intelligence, I have the desire to act as a spirit soul, to act according to this transcendental knowledge. And then the intelligence directs the mind, the senses, to engage in devotional service. And that we have to learn from a bona fide spiritual master. And when we have this knowledge, a little realization already, things are lightening up. We understand material life is temporary. It's like a gross dream that soon ends. And we don't want to go to the next gross dream anymore. We want to go to get back our eternal identity. At night we see everything as one in the darkness, but in the daytime, when the sun is up, we see everything in its real identity. Identity with individuality is spiritual life. In spiritual life is real knowledge. We are individuals, spiritual beings, eternal, and servants of Krishna. And that is real knowledge. And then everything lights up. Like you have on the next slide, the light comes. And then we can see things clear. That light comes if we associate with saintly persons. And that is different knowledge than knowledge about this material world, than the knowledge of this material world. This knowledge, it makes us identify with our real self. Most knowledge in this material world, what they teach in the schools and so on, is presumed with the idea that you are the body, which is wrong. And that makes this knowledge useless for spiritual realization. But real knowledge will liberate one from the ignorance that we are the mind, that we are the likes and dislikes, that's first, like on this slide you see the liberation of those in Auschwitz. You see the man who is bound on a chair. It just, one is bound, one is liberated. But liberation does not mean liberated from some prison. No, it's liberated from birth, death, old and disease. Liberated from our reactions of material nature, that liberated from our karma. Our karma is cut and stopped, so that we are liberated from this body and this mind, this subtle and gross. Real identity, and the other is the other is avidya, is knowledge of material nature. Only vidya, real knowledge of our real self, will liberate us, and that's what Bhagavad Gita is offering. Now we will look at the symptoms of realized souls. But first, Krishna says, to come to that realization, how do we come to that realization? Dat Buddha sadatnas, dat tishtas, dat prayana, kachanta punaravitam, jnani nirduta kalmasa. Nirduta kalmasa means washing. One must first wash all ignorance away from our heart, which the lust, anger, greed, attachment and aversion, which makes us identify with the body, and which finds its root in the ignorance that we think ourselves enjoy in this world, must be removed. And how we do that? That the verse says, when one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuse are all in dream, that one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings to complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. So one must use one's body, mind, and words in the service of Krishna. Fix it on Krishna. Fix intellect on Krishna by hearing Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam. Fix the mind on Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna and thinking of Krishna while serving, by performing devotional service, and be conscious of Krishna. There with your mind. We are the consciousness in our body. We share with Krishna when we perform service. And then all this ignorance is washed away. That's a process. It may take a few years to complete. Some are more surrendered to Krishna than others. It goes quicker when you are fully surrendered. And then what will be the result? What will be the symptoms? First symptom, you will see Vidya Vinaya Sampane, Brahmana Gavhasni, Shunshev Svapagitsa, Panida Samadakshana. You will see an elephant, a dog, a Brahman, and a cow, and we see other animals on the screen. We see them as spirit souls who receive the body. That's important. We should see the living entity, the spirit soul, in the body of every living entity. And recognizing this, we are equal spirit souls, but the dog has got another body than me because he has done other activities in his previous life, which gave him, the separate soul gave him that body according to his desires and what he deserves according to his karma. So the devotee feels immediately compassion for every living entity. I'm suffering, they are suffering, so we are equal in our suffering. So we understand that this Paramatma is equal. He gives everyone one's reactions, different reactions. It means it's equal like the rain. The rain falls on the mountains, in the rivers, on the streets. And Krishna, as a super soul, he gives everyone's various reactions. It's like the rainfall, that's all. It's equal. Everywhere like the rainfall, that in every species they receive according to their karmas. So it's not that the Lord likes you or dislikes because he gives you access for suffering and so on, and he likes you because he gives you happiness. No, it's just supreme justice. You get according to your previous activities. And then we start to see our minds become established in sameness and equanimity. We see, like I said before, the the dog, the Brahman, the elephant, they are suffering like I'm suffering. And we wish them all liberation from birth and death. So as long as one identifies with the body, it's considered a conditioned soul. But as soon as one sees this equanimity, then one has realized the self, is liberated from conditioned life. And sees the same soul in the newborn baby, and down the old man that dies. That's below is a picture of Columbus, who is leaving his body. So we know the evil of birth and death, and we want to become liberated from that. So that's another quality of a liberated soul. But this is equanimity in mind. It's position of the mind. That's the mind of a liberated soul. But what's the intelligence of a liberated soul? Next verse. Its intelligence is called stira buddhi. I read this verse 20. Na pasvichet priyam papyan novichet papya sabudam sterbusima samudo brahmavid brahmanistita. One who does not rejoice when some happiness comes from the body, and does not lament when some suffering comes, that he is made fixed in the Atma, in the soul, that he's of steady mind, is not bewildered, as Samuda, is steady mind, stira buddhi, is not bewildered. And we can learn from that. We should not be elated when opportunity comes for sense gratification, a big nice meal to eat. No, a devotee is not interested. It's not thinking the Prasad come, I'm going to conquer it, that's for me. No, the devotee thinks this is the mercy of Krishna. And he gives me that to keep body and soul together to serve him. That's a different attitude. That it's not for sense gratification. That a self-realized soul has lost his tendency for sense gratification, and we can practice that. And we should not suffer, not be unhappy when some suffering comes. We just tolerate. It's all temporary for the body, and try not to identify with the body. Absorb yourself, if possible, in spiritual matters, hearing, chanting, and so that you don't identify with this body. The more you concentrate on the pain and I am suffering, the more heavy the pain comes. But we can learn, these are symptoms of liberated souls. And another symptom is that in the next verse, now that's 21. Ayachasa saktatma pindat atmani yatsukam savama yoga yuktatma sukam aksham asnute. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure. Sure, but is always in trance and enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized soul enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. So that's a devotee who is completely enjoyed, completely absorbed in his devotional service with devotion. he forgets about the body because he feels so much pleasure. And that if one becomes liberated and one forgets about the body, that's something, there's no awareness. Awareness on the spiritual platform, so concentrated that one is the awareness of the body and one feels such pleasure within. See here, Lord Shiva is always feeling that pleasure within. Is Lord Shiva, he is called Sambhu. Sambhu means he is the most advanced devotee. He's always within meditating on Krishna. And therefore, he feels always that pleasure with. He is Atmaram. He doesn't. He is completely satisfied and feels great joy. So that's the highest attainment of a devotee. So Srila Prabhupada writes, a person in Brahma Yoga or Krishna consciousness. That is Brahma Yoga because Krishna is Parabrahman, the Supreme Brahman. And Brahmano I Pratishtanam, Krishna says, Brahman depends on me. So that's the highest, we can say, Parabrahma Yoga, or Krishna consciousness. Is so absorbed in loving service of the Lord that he loses taste for material sense pleasure. No place. Spiritual realization and sex pleasure go ill together. We should know that. If we want spiritual advancement, give up sex pleasure. Control your senses. Learn to eat what you just need and try to keep away from all those who are attracted to sex pleasure and want to talk about it. Stay far away of it. That be very strict in your control of the senses. Follow the four regulative principles. And then one is bound to make spiritual advancement. If one follows the process correctly, one will feel pleasure within. In the beginning, that big pleasure, that joy will not be there, but at least there will be satisfaction. And as you progress, it will become joyful as when the heart starts to go, the heart is purified, when the greatest purification is happened, then this great joy comes. But even before, we feel pleasure by the service itself, and that's so wonderful on devotional service. The next verse is an important verse. Ye sanspasyabaha dukkhyana evate atyantavante kanteya nate shuramate buddhaham. So in this verse, Krishna says that an intelligent person does not act in the sources which are due to contact with the material senses. For son of Kunti, such pleasure have a beginning and an end, and so the wise does not delight in them. So what does it mean? In this verse, Krishna is saying, you want to enjoy in this material world? To the extent you enjoy, the reaction will be suffering. So who wants to suffer? Stop trying to enjoy without Krishna. Enjoy with Krishna. You cook for him, you offer the food to him, and then you can enjoy with the understanding that it is to maintain the property of Krishna. The body is the property of Krishna. But still, eating means meditating how Krishna tasted the prasad, tasted the food offered to him. It becomes a deep meditation. And it's very realizable then. So that these things we need to learn. That everything I do without Krishna consciousness, I will suffer. It's like an addiction. And we have to get rid of this addiction. It's not only the gross addiction, like you see here, taking some drugs and taking alcohol, that you drink alcohol and then your liver get worse and worse. You have to take pills and this and that. Suffering comes immediately, practically. It doesn't wait long. That you drink, and next day you have a headache. So reaction is practically immediately there. In the long term, your liver get ruined. So a devotee knows, I don't do that. I want just to give Krishna pleasure. And I will take part in Krishna's pleasure. Krishna arranges that. And you get a higher form of enjoyment. Enjoyment of the heart, not just of the senses. So the more one is addicted to material pleasures, the more one is entrapped by material miseries. A devotee knows that. And we find that also these teachings in the Bhagavatam, where King Lord Rishabhadev, he is teaching his sons. King Rishabhadev had 100 sons. 9 were very elevated. They became the Nava Yogendras, liberated souls. Then 10 or 15 became Kshatriyas and the other became Brahmins. But he told all his sons that you should not work hard day and night for sense gratification. Sense gratification is even given to the dogs and hogs. No need to work for that. It comes from its own accord. No, you should do penances and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. What are our penance and austerity? Following our rules and regulations. We don't engage in illicit sex, don't eat meat, don't drink, no intoxication, that we keep no illicit sex, keep clean. That is our austerities. Austerity means saying no to unnecessary sense gratification. And chant Hare Krishna, hear about Krishna, to perform. We do these austerities to come to the spiritual platform. It's important. A Brahmin is austere, a devotee is higher than a Brahmin. He's certainly austere and follows the rules and regulations. That by that the heart becomes purified. Then one attains this higher position. And then one gets a pleasure which is eternal and full bliss forever. Not a temporary pleasure of sense for the satisfaction of the senses. Eternal pleasure. And again, Rishabhadev said, you should go for that. And then in the next verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, that Saknotita vyasitam prakshir vimoksanat kam kodvam kevram sekta sukin nara. Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, is well situated in this world. So we tolerate that we don't become angry material desires, like we see on the screen, when unsatiated, generate anger, and thus the mind, eyes, and chest becomes agitated. That's Srila Prabhupada. That's what Srila Prabhupada writes. We should avoid that. We should see the world to transcendental knowledge. That all this agitation is due to our attachment and aversion to things in this world, because of our attachment to the body, to the mind, the senses, to fear, our attachment to so-called fear. That Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, he who can tolerate in this world the agitation arising from lust and anger before being liberated from the body is a yogi and is happy. So that this is the first instruction Krishna gave Arjuna in the beginning, when after he told Arjuna, you are not a body and your body is changes. He says, Matras first the county and sitas no sukadukata ahamapaina nityastam bharata. Just tolerate this happiness and this stress in this world. It comes like heat in the summer, cold in the winter. Tolerate it. When you tolerate it, Arjuna, yamina vyotatante purusham sukadukadam samdukasram kiram syomitat kalpati. Then if you can tolerate this, you will attain liberation. So that's important. We must become, Lord Chaitanya said, we should become as tolerant as a tree. So that requires some endeavor from our part. And we will learn to tolerate more and more. And then text 24, this is, I read the translation, first verse, Yonta Sukataram Sukrantara Ramas Tatantra Jyotirevaya Sayoga Brahmanevanam Brahmabhuti Gacchati. One whose happiness is within and whose active rejoice within and whose aim is inward is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme and ultimately he attains the Supreme. So the real happiness lies within. A yogi, he gives up external engagements that meant for getting superficial happiness, temporary happiness, which causes distress. So a liberated person, Srila Prabhupada said, enjoys by factual experience that when we serve Krishna, we realize our position as a spirit soul and this happiness within. Our real happiness lies in the soul, that like a mother serves the children without asking something in return. And that gives happiness within. So many monks and nuns, they serve humanity and their conception of God, but still they are serving nothing for themselves, and that gives some satisfaction within. But the real happiness comes when the heart becomes purified. When the heart becomes purified, and we realize our position as a servant of Krishna, by factual experience, then it becomes so blissful. That is samadhi. Hanuman was always in samadhi when he was serving Ram. He did not deviate his mind for a moment from Ram. He could not live without thinking of him. That's the true happiness, and that lies within. True happiness does not lie outside anything. because now this selfless attitude is required. Selfless, just for the pleasure of Krishna. But Krishna means everyone. Everyone also. Everyone is a part of Krishna. It's not that I serve a Krishna and now we serve everyone. Therefore, a devotee who he wants to work for the welfare of all, wants to give Krishna realization to everyone. And that's the last verse that we will discuss of the realizations of a liberated soul. Labande Brahmanirvanam Arishaya Shina Kalmasa China Dvedyatatmana Sarvabhuta Iterata. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose mind are engaged within, and who are always busy for working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. So you can only serve selflessly if you have left behind your material aspirations, your desires. So, Srila Prabhupada said, the suffering of humanity are due to forgetfulness of Krishna as the supreme proprietor and the supreme friend. Therefore, to act to revive this consciousness within the entire human society is the highest welfare work. And then one is assured of liberation. If one follows that, that's the last verse. Abito Brahmanirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. So, in the conditioned soul has a desire to enjoy the fruitive result of his work, and it's so deep-rooted. Everyone in this world say, I will only do it if there is some profit for me. And it is so deep-rooted that it is even difficult for great sages to control such desires, despite great endeavors. But a devotee who is serious in surrendering to Krishna, who is always engaged in devotional service, that's the condition. He becomes perfect in self-realization and attains liberation of the Supreme, in the Supreme, because Krishna takes care of such devotees, like a tortoise. A tortoise, Paramatma, serves such persons. That's what Baladev Vidyabhushan said. Paramatma in all respects attends upon those persons who are endeavoring in this way. The fish nourishes its offspring by seeing, the turtle by meditation, and the birds by touch. So the Paramatma, Krishna says, I nourish my devotees with similar affection, O Brahma, from the Padma Purana. If you make one step to Krishna, Krishna makes 10 steps towards you. That he will arrange situations so that you can make quick spiritual advancement and go back to the spiritual world, back to Godhead. So this is an overview of the symptoms of liberated souls from the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Normally with this in Bhagavad Gita classes, we are discussing using usually one verse, one symptom, and then we discuss how to realize that, practice that in our lives. But today I've given you an overview so because then you have an idea what really a liberated soul is. And now it's up to us to hear Bhagavad Gita, hear the verses again, and then go deeper in each verse and understand what's there for me in my life. How can I practice it? We do that by the help of a spiritual master, and that makes us quickly advance in devotional service. So, thank you very much. Okay. It seems that some of you didn't hear clearly what I was saying. I hope it was audible for others. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much. Thank you for your class. And then it was clear for I think most devotees. I think it was just Bprs connection.
Yeah.
But I had a question actually. I was thinking like what you mentioned was that by following the 4 regulative principles, you will eventually like kind of you can effectively get control of the mind, or like basically become fixed at least. However, like for example, like from my own personal perspective, like I've actually been following it like the 4 regs like pretty much all my life. I've been very fortunate in that, but yet it is so hard to control the mind. Even like this is after like 35 years or so. Like at what stage do you actually feel like like you have that control, or like how do you at what point? It's very like up to now I still don't feel like I have any sort of like genuine control. Do you see what I mean, Maharaj?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. That Krishna, that's discussed in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Follow the regulative principle gives you the possibility to start to control the mind. Not that your mind is controlled by following the 4 regulative principles, but what makes the mind uncontrollable, impossible? Krishna says, Bhogashvara Pasaktyam Tayaprita Shetasam. He said, it is by the attachment to sense gratification that the mind becomes disturbed. And the greatest attachment is created by sinful activities, and thus breaking the 4 regulative principle. Then there is no hope. But when you follow the 4 regulative principles, you become already liberated from the greatest harassment of the modes of material nature. But that does not mean that you can already control your mind. But you are a good candidate to work on it. And then in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says, you ask me to control this mind? Impossible, he says. It's like trying to control the wind. Who can control the wind? But Krishna says, yes, Arjuna, you can do it. You can do it with detachment and practice. So if we chant Hare Krishna, then the mind wants to do something else. But we have to fix it on Krishna to the hearing of the sound every time and bring it back. Like a horse goes out of the stable, we have to bring it back. And that is a whole endeavor. So we try to control the mind. That's something special in this world. Most people think in this world that they are the mind, that they are the likes and dislikes in their mind. Then there is no chance of controlling. But we make a begin. We try to control the mind. And controlling the mind means when it wanders, we bring it back. But in devotional service, in the beginning it's heavy. It wanders, you bring it back every time. But Because that's the last thing what the materialistic minded mind want to fix on Krishna. It doesn't want that. But we have to practice, and Krishna says with detachment. Detachment means hearing about the fertility of the material world, and gradually the mind attachment will go. When you chant, sometimes you have to tell your mind, yeah, I know you want to meditate on this, but we will deal with that later. Now chanting. And you have to control your mind. You have to preach to your minds that, like you have Raghunath Das Goswami, prayer to the mind. He prays to his mind. But he prays to his mind. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says you should beat your mind. When you get up in the morning, you beat your mind. You have to listen. And it's a practice. And in the beginning, it's an endeavor. But when the heart becomes purified, it starts to become easy. And that takes some years. That takes some years. I'm also in that process, but my endeavors, I'm not so much attached to gross things anymore. That's all gone. The battle becomes more subtle. But Krishna says to Arjun, well, Arjun, you are a great warrior, Mahabaro, that you have killed so many in battle, you are unconquerable, but you will be really unconquerable when you can conquer your mind. And that's the real enemy. We have to conquer. The mind must become our friend. But when the heart becomes purified, then it becomes easy. Much more easy. Then you have devotion, and with devotion, your desire is different. It becomes spiritual, and the mind becomes your friend. And then Maya gives you up. This person is worthless. That, yes, I cannot influence anymore. It's always thinking of Krishna, out of my jurisdiction. So the point is, controlling is one act, trying to control, but the real control comes if in our activities we offer affection and love for Krishna, and then it will go more easy. Try to chant with love. Don't try to chant to control your mind. All your effort go to your mind. But if you try to chant with love, the control will come much more easy. So that is what I could say. That of course the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita says many more things about controlling of the mind, but this is an essential point. Does that help a bit?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you. That was a very clear answer.
Okay, thank you. Maybe if there is any other question? Otherwise,
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
The thing about thinking of Krishna while we are doing our material duties, and so while we're doing our material duties, obviously we shouldn't be attached to that and still fix our mind on Krishna. How would that be possible, Maharaj? Because if we are, while you're doing the duty sincerely, how can we fix our mind on Krishna at that time?
It depends what you are doing. I remember on my travels with Prahlad Nanda Maharaj, someone asked him, can I chant while driving a car? Interesting question. And the answer of Maharaj was, if you are concentrating on the road and not concentrating on the chanting, you chant with offenses, and that's not good. That's inattentive chanting, will not help you much. And when you become absorbed in the chanting while driving the car, you become a danger on the road. So that should not be done. If we chant, we should concentrate on one thing, the chanting. And that's the mode of goodness. The mode of goodness means we do one thing at a time and focus our mind on that. That in the beginning, we will do things, we know it's for Krishna, but I have to concentrate on my work. And then I offer the results to Krishna. But if we become purified gradually, we will be able to work also as Krishna. And we will be able to think of Krishna during our work. It will become it will become spontaneous, but we cannot force it with an impure. That's not possible. But by offering the fruits of our activities to Krishna, we become purified and we will gradually start to think more of Krishna. So it's a process but we should be aware. Before there are things that are helpful. Before you start your job, you pray to Krishna and say, please help me. I'm doing it for you. And while you're doing your job and you get obstacles, you pray to Krishna, please help me. And will give the result to you. It's for you. Help me to do it nicely, to overcome this challenge. And by that, it's a process by which we become more and more absorbed in Krishna while doing our work. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very much.
Okay, so maybe if no one has a question, then I could end with ending the Singha prayers.
Maharaj.
Yes, sure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
To you, Maharaj. So nice to hear your teachings
Hare
again.
Krishna.
I'm so glad to be here today. Thank you so much. I've just been thinking of something for the past 3 days ago, and actually this morning I wanted to ask Mataji Sulochana where I can get to ask you, but I was busy with work. Thank God I've got you today. Maharaj, I've just been thinking if our daily activity, our behavior in our daily activities, we get karmic reactions, does that mean that Krishna does not forgive us our sins?
That does not depend on Krishna directly.
Okay.
Krishna has created a system. If we do activities for ourselves, not for Krishna, then we get reactions. That's a law of nature. So we are under the laws of nature all. But if we do activities for Krishna, we come under the spiritual law. We are not under the material laws anymore. And that's a fact. But in the beginning, we may not always be able to do things for Krishna, and sometimes we forget him. That, yes, but these reactions will be diminished or completely annihilated if we perform activities for all our other activities for the service of Krishna and try to stop these activities that we don't do for Krishna. So there is always hope that because if we attain pure devotional service, then all our karma will be destroyed. but accidentally we may create karma. But if we perform then our activities and we want to give up such activities, then gradually also these reactions will be destroyed if we make advancement. So there is great hope. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you very much, Maharaj. My next question is that, Maharaj, if we say we have the same soul in animal, and so we should not kill animals, why then do we wear pearls? Because we get pearls from animals, and these animals are being killed before the pearls are taken out.
Yeah, that then if animals are killed for that, when they are killed for that,
yeah,
for the fur and wear them, then you get part of that karma. You are also responsible for killing the animal, and that is heavy karma. That yeah, that's the law of nature. Sure, we should think about these things. Better to avoid that. But if an animal has a natural death and then you use the fur, that's different.
okay.
That's a different thing. That's okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Maharaj. Very nice listening to you again. Thank you.
We should end with chanting the Nrsimha prayer. That
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. That'd be nice. Just to let devotees know as well. So I think Mahesh Baru, his health is declining quite rapidly. So yeah, we can also. He's I guess Maharaj, I don't know if you've met him, but he's basically a devotee who lives in South London. He operates a health shop in Streatham.
Yeah,
so
I
yeah,
heard about him. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, if we can also just like think about pray for him as well while we sing. That'd be nice.
Okay, we dedicate the Nrsimha prayers to him.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj, for your class.
Hare Krishna. All the best. Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Jai.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Bo.